as you've been serving for many, many decades, I mean, your ministry, you were in your early mid 80s, is that right?
Yeah.
Mid 80s? Mid 80s. What are the changes that you've seen over time in how we express our evangelical faith that you think Edwards really speaks to?
When I was growing up in the 1950s, evangelicalism was, well, it was sort of two things. One was that Billy Graham and people who liked him, who liked Billy Graham, and for a long time, that I think was a good definition of an evangelical, as someone who likes Billy Graham. Then there were also fundamentalists who were, in various ways, more conservative and more separatist, who was often suspicious of Billy Graham. And sort of it was a fundamentalist wing and the evangelical broader wing. And that distinction has fallen apart to some extent, partly because in the 20th century, people have stopped calling themselves fundamentalists ever since 9/11, and the use of it for Islamic fundament is not the best term, but that's what people said. Islamic fundamentalists, Christian fundamentalists have stopped using the term, so it's a little harder to identify. But it's also what's happened is a lot of the political religion has become intermixed with the with various Christian traditions, and churches become identified with where they stand on the political issues in a way that just wasn't nearly as prominent 60 years ago. That people in churches had, largely conservative political views, but they weren't seen as an arm of anybody's politics, either on the left or the right. And I think that creates a real tension, and that cuts across all the religious traditions. You can find it among Catholics or Protestants or any subgroup of Protestants that you look at. They're not only divided from other denominations, but they're divided often among themselves, and often it's the political divisions that become more important. So I think one thing that Edwards is helpful for is to get away from that and to look for the more perennial Christian virtues, and that's why I in the book I invoke C.S. Lewis often to try to get mere Christianity that Edwards fleshes out some depth in what that means, but the idea that you're looking for the essence of the Christian tradition and don't get caught up in some sort of sub movement that subverts that can look like you're doing the right thing, but then you're actually subverting the essence or alienating a lot of people you shouldn't be alienating.